All right, everybody, so what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna go over exercises that I see in the gym. I'm gonna show you what I see and ways to do it in a better manner. That's just the easiest way I can say it. All these newfangled kind of ideas that are out there, some are good, but some still, I still don't understand why they're trying to achieve what they're trying to achieve when you're activating other muscles that you're not trying to activate, kind of thing. So, first one that I'm going to talk about is lat pull down single arm. One thing I see them do when they're doing this is they try to like angle themselves over here. And I understand why they're doing this, because they're trying to either isolate the lat and they're trying to drop that shoulder to get maybe full range. I honestly don't know. But the whole point is what you're doing is you're actually shortening the lat's length. So why wouldn't you just be upright and do it in this fashion and have the longer range instead of leaning into it and shortening it and just doing this, kind of like a partial. Like there's always availability to do partials. So if you started in the full range and you're doing it this way, and then you start to get tired and you do this, and then if you want to do this whole lean over thing and do that to finish off and get a couple good partials in, all the power to you. But to do the whole set over like this, I'm sorry, I'm not on the same wavelength as what they're trying to achieve. There's even another way that I do them, and you can kind of do it sideways and it gives you even more range of motion. So if you come from the side, put one leg over, down here. So now you're still dropping that shoulder. Everything's here. So now I'm getting more range because I'm actually coming up higher. So bigger stretch and bigger squeeze, instead of what they were showing is I'd be over like this and twist it and down, and it's just no, I'm never gonna agree with this whole shortening of a muscle to make it bigger. I'd rather lengthen it out and get full stretch in between every rep rather than shortening it and getting almost zero stretch. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So that would be one exercises that I would, if I could change, I would ban that from any gym. But to each his own. Then we'll move on to dumbbell rows. Another one I see butchered all the time. A lot of people use way too much weight. They're using just purely momentum, and they're doing it in a fashion that it's all biceps. So they're keeping everything nice and tight. So if you're doing it and the dumbbells, like you're swinging it, but the dumbbell's hitting you up in the rib cage, you can see if I switch it over here that my bicep is doing all the movement. So what you want to do to activate your back is let it lean down, let it dangle. Like I always tell my clients, start with dangling it first, start with the stretch. So as the dumbbell comes back, your chest comes up. But you're driving your elbow. You're not worried about, this is just, your hand's just a hook. You're just hooking that. So really the driving force is your elbow. Your hand's just there for the ride. So, starting with a full stretch. So notice that my hand's coming back to my hip when my chest comes up. So, like any back movement, and I've talked about this before, so I want my lats to activate. If I round my shoulders this way, and I only come to here, I'm flexed, But to really get full flexion, I have to put my chest, I have to put my shoulders back. So any back movement, your chest has to come through your shoulders, your plane. So it has to come back. So shoulders forward, shoulders back. Same thing with this. If I'm down here, my shoulder is forward. So my chest has to come through my plane. So round, up. That's the easiest way to make an analogy is the chest always has to come show your shoulder girdle. So your shoulder girdle is your collarbone, your scapula, your joints. Do a straight line through your ears to your shoulders. So if they come forward, you're stretched out. If they come back, you're fully flexed. So on any movement, be it up to down, forward to back, or down to up, you always have to put your chest through your plane, your girdle. So wherever the girdle is, so now it's out, my chest has to come through. If I'm down, my chest has to come through in this angle. If it's up this way and I'm forward, my chest has to come through that way. So that's the only really way to get a full range of motion and fully flexed on your back muscles. And it gets misconstrued and misconcepted a lot. And people just think lift heavy, which makes them do like a half rep, and they're really just kind of like, they're not getting that full range. They're like coming to here and they're flexed, but they're not getting that extra 3 to 4 to 5 inch range of motion. Let's face it, inches matter. We're gonna finish off with a hammer strength mid-row with the chest pad. One I have kind of stepped on before. I've seen numerous different ways. I've seen them on the seat, underneath the seat, behind. But the common one that I see, and they're all trying to do the same kind of thing, is they're grabbing this and they're back here, right here. So if you think, the easy way to think about all this is gravity is pulling everything in a downward motion. So this right to there really is your biggest tension. Because once you break that right there, it's already starting to come back. Like there's no tension right here, nothing. You can see that it's starting to fall. So if I'm back here like that, I'm already past that major tension point. So I'm finishing where it's here. So even if I'm sitting upright, I'm still finishing and there's no tension. So if I want the complete tension, and if you had longer limbs, you're a really tall individual, put your forearm here up against your pad. That gives you another 3 to 4 inches. And then you're still staying in that tension period. You still gotta round your shoulder. You still gotta put that shoulder out there, get that full stretch. You gotta drive that elbow back. But pulling yourself away from here, you can see that, like just looking at the pendulum, like there's your tension. As soon as you come up here, it's gone. Like, I'm not even holding that. Like it doesn't make any sense, but like I said, people just want to put weight on and do their thing. Usually the explanation is they're tall, they have long limbs, or they're trying to get heavy. I understand that, I do. I understand that you're trying to lift heavier weight to get a bigger muscle. 100%, I understand. But if you're not lifting it correctly, there's no point in putting the extra weight on. And you see a lot of pros out there, like Nick Walker is one of the most heavily muscled bodies on the planet, and he's open in saying that a lot of his movements, he's basically rewinded his form to being a beginner and dropping a lot of his weight so he can feel it more. Back being some of those movements, chest being some of those movements, and now he's getting a lot more growth out of the movements because he's doing it in a fashion that activates the muscle more so. So that's where it kind of gets misconstrued. Everyone wants to put weight on, and make it heavier. But your form, like there's always that teeter-totter. Your form is going to suffer if you try to go too heavy. So this is prime example. People are putting way too much weight on, doing this whole lean back thing, and they're not doing anything to help with the muscle growth. So just bring yourself in nice and close, put your bum back, and there you go. Still staying in that tension, so where it's going to be at the hardest, but you're not, essentially you're not just lifting to lift. You're lifting for a purpose. You're lifting to create muscle, not to just look cool and look strong. So people can argue with me that fact all they want, but gravity is gravity. Gravity pulls down. It doesn't pull on an angle. It pulls straight down. So gravity's pulling everything down. You're trying to pull against gravity. If you're already past that point of pull, it's less tension. So it's common sense. But those are the 3 exercises for today that I see mostly done in the gyms that I've currently lifted in and are butchered. I know there's a lot out there. You guys can put in the comments that I'd be gladly take a run at it and do it in a proper fashion. But that's it for today. Hope you guys liked it.